Hi, I'm Diana Dungan. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Comfort Home Care. I'm also a registered nurse, and I've been working for Comfort Home Care over the last 10 years. Obviously, when everybody needed to be shut down and go home, most of our management staff were able to accommodate that and successfully transition to work from home. In fact, we're all still mostly remotely working from home. Our HR need increased fairly drastically, especially in the beginning as that first wave of COVID hit. We had nurses that either couldn't go to work and do what we needed them to do every day because they were sick themselves, or they had sick family members, or one of the biggest that's still an issue is they didn't have childcare anymore. So we kept our ads up. We kept that part of the HR procedure in play, but we moved everything to Zoom. We use Zoom for absolutely every meeting, and we use Zoom now for all the interviewing process. Because the schedules have actually opened up for our management staff that would normally be doing these interviews, we've been more successful now being able to do that remotely through Zoom. And we anticipate we're going to continue this. So one thing that we found as an agency is our production for management and office staff that did move to remote work almost completely, our production is up because we're not spending time shuffling kids around. We're not spending time on our commute. We're mostly on and working before hours and able to even work after hours. And then that opens up the schedule for interviews. So we have felt like that's been a very successful thing, and we'll be continuing that. You can never be too prepared. I can't say that strongly enough. When I came into Comfort Home Care, of course, there were policies and procedures in place, as well as emergency and disaster plans. I come from a hospital background with FEMA certification, so emergency preparedness is my thing. I very much dove into that, and thankfully so, because our emergency prep plans were in place, but they were never truly put to the test. Most of us, I think, have plans, and you think of emergencies like floods and hurricanes, or like the gas break in Methuen and Lawrence that was pretty big and hit the MEMA site for a little while. But we don't really think about pandemic in the nature that it happened and that it's still happening. So having those plans in place and making sure you have stockpiles of PPE, making sure your communication methods are good and tested, this is something that's difficult to role play ahead of time. So we all had to go through this live and figure out how is the best way to get information to our staff, to calm them, because as frontline people, we know in the beginning things were changing every day, so we were changing what we were saying sometimes every day. You and I, as well as many other members in management and home care industry, lived on webinars between CDC and Mass Health and every entity there was. We were just sucking up any information we could to pass to our staff to try to calm those fears. But I think the most important piece of all this is don't wait until you have an emergency to plan for that emergency. So even though we didn't have a specific plan in place per se for a pandemic, we were in really good shape going in because we had all of the internal structures in place to move forward when it did happen. And probably the biggest concern as a leader in the company is making sure that first and foremost, our patients are safe and remain safe out there, taking care of our nurses, are safe taking care of the patients out there. But being able to supply them with the appropriate PPE was concerning, because trying to figure out our burn rate in the beginning was very crazy. Because of the fear, people are double, triple masking. They want N95. Nobody could get anything. So those little stockpiles that we had came in handy, and we've built one that will remain moving forward in the current state, because we don't know how long this is going to last. And in the future, we don't ever want to be in that position where we have to worry about, in 2 more weeks, what are we going to do if it's gone? So I think the best advice for everybody is to have those plans in place, test them if you can, make sure your communication methods are good and solid, and that your management team knows exactly what to do when an emergency happens.